NFL opening weekend has now come to a close. Some pretty impressive wins, some pretty big blowouts. Tommy, did we learn that much from opening weekend? Is Seattle beatable? Are they still the team to beat? What did we learn from opening weekend?
I think we learned, as far as Seattle is concerned, I mean, Seattle is still strong. They're good. Another thing we learned is that Eli Manning is actually terrible. We were wondering if he was actually terrible or if he wasn't. I think we can safely say now that he is terrible. Another quarterback who I have now 100% given up on having any hope of being good. And this is a disappointing one because I had high hopes for him when he was drafted.
Hey, he's got two rings, man. He's got more than his brother.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a quarterback stat. I have a huge problem with that. RG3, I think his luck has run out, no pun intended. What else did we learn? We learned.
Hey, Tommy, I think I said a couple episodes ago, we ought to go back and find this, but I think I might have gone out on a limb and said that by week 4, Kirk Cousins would be starting. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that, and I also remember I wrote in, I think, my most recent blog that RG3 would be done after week 3. And that is looking like a pretty good prediction to me.
He looked awful.
What?
RG3 looked awful.
Yeah, he did. He looked terrible. He looked absolutely awful. Another thing I learned is that, I mean, they looked terrible for a half. Eagles are for real, though, because if you're able to come back like that, granted it was against the Jaguars, they were down 17-0, and then they just woke up in the second half and ran off 34 points. I mean, that was just masterful. So I think we learned a little bit there about the Eagles. I think we also found out that Kansas City is not that great, so the second half Chiefs are a lot closer to reality than the first half Chiefs from last year. And we learned that Peyton Manning is still the best quarterback in the NFL. So those are my biggest takeaways from this weekend. I don't know what yours are.
So as far as the Chiefs go, and just, people get hyped up on teams that were always good the year before, but I think one of the biggest things people always need to take into account is strength of schedule. Because you always see this in the NFC South, worst to first, because they're terrible the year before. They have a string of bad luck. Then they get an easy schedule. They get a little luck on their side, and suddenly you have a team like the Falcons, who were worse last year, being in first this year. So I think that's something with the Chiefs. I'm not saying they're going to be in last place this year, because they have some good pieces. Andy Reid's a good coach. Jamal Charles is lethal in the backfield. But they have a much tougher schedule this year, so I think that's why you're going to see a more realistic Kansas City Chiefs. As far as what I thought we learned in week 1, Matthew Stafford and the Lions looked lethal. I know they weren't playing the best team in the Giants, but that offense looks very similar to the potent New Orleans Saints offense of the last few years. I think Stafford's going to have a huge year. Calvin Johnson looked undefendable. Other things that we learned, I felt like we didn't learn that much compared to last season. And I'm a little biased. I'm a big Niner fan, but I really don't believe that even this early in the season, there's any team that can beat the Seahawks besides the 49ers. I know I'm outside biased, but we saw what happened to the Broncos in the Super Bowl last year. I think the same thing would happen if they played again in the Super Bowl this year. The Patriots don't look as strong. I don't really think besides the Broncos there's anyone in the AFC that could really compete with the best of the NFC teams. So, Tommy, you tell me why I'm wrong, but I think the Seahawks have a very good chance to repeat, and I think the Niners are the only team that could get in their way.
I think, no, you know what? You're overlooking a team that's in their division.
If you're gonna start with the Cardinals,
I think the Arizona Cardinals, I wrote about this already. Arizona Cardinals will make the playoffs. They are very, very good.
And they didn't look great last night.
They didn't, but defensively, they're great. So I think you're going to be shocked by the Cardinals. I think Bruce Arians is one of the top 5 coaches in the NFL.
I agree with you there. I think we saw it when Bruce Arians was the interim head coach of the Colts, when Chuck Pagano was dealing with recovering from cancer and the chemotherapy. I think he's an offensive mastermind. I couldn't agree with you more. I really do think he's a great coach, but it's a tough division, Tommy.
It's a tough division, but I don't think the Niners will be as great as you're thinking they will be. I've already said this already. I don't think the Niners will make the playoffs this year. I think the Cardinals will make the playoffs and challenge for that division, to be honest with you, with the Seahawks. So we'll see. The Cardinals get the benefit. They finished 3rd last year, so that means there's 2 divisional games where you just match up with whoever your, the 3rd place team in the other division. They'll have the easiest schedule out of them, the 49ers and the Seahawks. I just would not be shocked if the Arizona Cardinals finish second, and very very close to first. I don't think they'll take the division from the Seahawks, but I think you will be surprised at how close that race is by the end of the year.
And Tommy, even if we're arguing different NFC West teams, it's still every team we've mentioned in the NFC West. So can you even see any team besides the NFC West? And I mean, the Packers just got destroyed, absolutely destroyed when they're supposed to be better this year. Their defense is supposed to be rebuilt. What other team? I mean, maybe the Saints or the Falcons, but I'm just saying, I just think there is such a difference in the strength of these teams versus pretty much any other team in the league.
Saints and Lions, I would put up there as well. So, even though they lost this week, they don't look. I'm not going to say that name. I don't agree with that. I can't even say that. Yeah, I mean, they are the favorite. I still think they're the favorite, but I don't think that they will repeat as NFC champions. I think that someone will get them.
And one person who I legitimately think is the key to the Seahawks, that takes them from very good to elite, is Percy Harvin. You saw it in the Super Bowl. You saw it in the first game. And if he can stay healthy, I think the Seahawks will be on a completely different wavelength than most teams in the NFL. If he's not healthy, I really think that changes the dynamic, how dynamic that offense could be. They lost Golden Tate. Marshawn Lynch is getting older. He looked great in the first game of the season, but he is getting older. So I think Percy Harvin is the key to that Seahawks offense.
I would make a bet right now that he does not play more than 10 games this year.
10 games? You think over, under 10 games?
Under.
Bold prediction for week 2 before we get out of here.
Bold prediction for week 2, because you just mentioned him, and now I'm going to sound like a homer, but that's okay. San Diego Chargers pick up their first win of the season at home versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Bold prediction of week 2, Tony Romo gets hurt. Is that a bold prediction, or is that just a standard prediction?
No, I mean, that's just a weird one. I mean, I would never root or predict for a guy to get hurt. But
yeah, well, I kind of changed. Yeah, I feel bad now. What I meant to say is that Tony Romo throws 4 touchdowns. That was going to be my bold prediction, right? And then right before I was about to say it, I was like, but there's no way that's going to happen.
So you mid-sentence, you pivoted.
Well, all right, let's check this out real quick. Let's see who they play. Let me just see who they play right now before I go through with the bold prediction. They play the Titans. Now, he's not going to throw 4. He's going to throw 4 interceptions. Wow, that's not a bold prediction,
No way. Romo's a great quarterback. Couldn't disagree more.
Tony Romo throws 4 interceptions. Okay, Tony Romo throws 4 interceptions. That's my pick. Bold or not?
I will say this. I bet you Tony Romo has twice as many touchdowns as he does interceptions next week. You can book that one.
Okay, I can't do that math. All right, we let's get out of here.
Yep. Really, you can't do times 2.
What?
Wow. I mean, times 2 divided by 2, not a difficult operation mathematically. But
how many interceptions did he throw last week? 3.
I'd have to double check for you, but I will bet that he has.
No, we're not going to get out of here until I look this up.
Would you like for me to do it for you?
I'm looking it up right now. Hold on. He threw for where is this? Hold on. Killing it right now.
I have it. Do you want me to tell you?
You have it, yeah.
It was 3 interceptions, yeah.
Yeah, so you think he's going to throw for 6 touchdowns?
No, I think he will throw for 2 or 3, and he'll have 1 interception.
Oh, I thought you were saying from last week.
No. I'm saying just in general in that game, he will have twice as many touchdowns as interceptions.
That's not that bold of a prediction.
Well, when you are predicting that he'll have 4 interceptions, it's basically, I'm trying to get the opposite of you. By doubling or nothing, basically.
I see.
But whatever.
I gotcha. All right, we'll check back next week for that.
Yep, we will. And I'll feel really smart when that happens.
All right, Tony Romo out.
Peace.
Really strong sign off.
Well, I didn't. You said Tony Romo out. So what the hell was I supposed to say back?
I don't know. I didn't have anything better.
All right, we are out of here like Percy.
Hey, actually,
Harvin.
I do have a good sign up. I do have a good sign off.
Do it.
It's now. I just want to use this all the time. Just take the stairs next time.
Oh. For for Trevor Brew, I'm Tommy Morris, and we're taking the stairs.
Take the stairs.
Oh man. Oh yeah. No, are there stairs cameras?
No, that was what the Fox News people said. Take the stairs.
Yeah, let's take the stairs.
Take the stairs.
Okay. See ya.
Yep. Take the stairs.